Hello and welcome to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Mark your calendars for G-Fest 27. That's happening July 15th through the 17th. So we're about a month out. Lots of awesome people are going to be there. The official schedule hasn't been released publicly yet, but there will be a Kaiju podcaster slash YouTuber panel on July 17th at G-Fest. The panelists include our friends Nathan Marchand and Danny DeMana, along with Jake, Daikaiju Legends, Michael Kalari, and this girl right here. That's right. I did not think I was cool enough to be on a G-Fest panel, but it's happening. All right, so that's cool. I'm very much looking forward to being on the panel, and I hope I get to see some of your beautiful faces in person that weekend. So make sure you register for G-Fest using the link down below in the description. You can find out how to do that there. Hope to see you there. Alrighty, on with the show. Tonight's guest is one of the men behind Toku Toy Town and the YHS Monster Island podcast. Toku Toy Town is a fantastic online store for all of your collecting needs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jay Key.
Hey, Kim, good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And I'm excited for your panel. I will be there, and I will be front row, and I promise not to heckle.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna hold you to that. So if I hear some heckling, I'm gonna come for you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Alrighty. So before we get rolling with our conversation tonight, I like to ask my guest 3 questions. What's your favorite? Wait. How did you get into Godzilla? First of all, what's your favorite Godzilla movie, and what is your favorite non-Godzilla kaiju movie?
Yes, 3 very, very good questions. The first one's easy. I not too different than a lot of us. Like I was a dinosaur kid. I also loved like Ray Harryhausen movies and fantasy films and stuff and mythology. And when I was 6 years old, our babysitter, her name was Deidre. And yes, it's the Deidre, the 3-headed monster joke has already been made. But her name was Deidre. And she got me, and one day, she was babysitting and showed me Destroy All Monsters. So that was my first look at Godzilla. I'm like, well, these are kind of like dinosaurs, but they're also kind of like the monsters and the Sinbad movies. And from then on, I was hooked. So yeah, all the credit or, all the everybody's negativity can go towards Deidre. She was the one that caused this. And the favorite Godzilla movie, it changes like a lot of folks, but I would say at least over the last few years, consistently, it's been Mothra versus Godzilla, the classic from '64. I love when you have Takarada and Koizumi and Tajima and all of and Sahara, all of the guys that kind of represent classic Toho or classic kaiju of that era. It's represented in this film, and of course you have one of the best Godzilla designs, the Mosogoji. He's bad. He's just a bad dude in it, which is amazing. And then you have fantasy being introduced into the Godzilla world kind of for the first time. And I think that's awesome. And of course, plays out many other times as we go along. So yeah, I just think it's all great and I love it. And it's just one that when they ask, what's the Godzilla movie you would show a friend that doesn't know anything about kaiju? That's always number 1 on my list. Because if they don't like that, then I don't know if they're my friend anyway. And then the last one's probably the hardest question. I go back and forth, and I will say, caveat, I know this is not the best movie, but for me personally, it's my favorite. It's weird quirks and terrible pacing and everything aside, and that is the 1994 classic Yamato Takaru, or Orochi the 8-Headed Dragon from Toho. Absolutely love it. I mean, you have everything from were-wizards to 8-headed dragons battling megazords on the moon to my Heisei crush Yasuke Sawaguchi to everything. So I love, and the music. I mean, you have, the end credits when Rain by Glay plays, it's my favorite. I love Ifukube, but give me Rain by Glay any day of the week in kaiju music. So Yamato Takaru is by far, I think, my number one non-Godzilla kaiju film, at least as we're sit here and talking today.
All right, very good. I'm sure those answers will change next. If I were to ask you next week, you'd
Of
probably
course.
get completely different answers.
Of course, yes. I'll have a more exciting origin story for myself in kaiju as well next week if I'm prepared.
Sure. All righty. Let's see who we have in the chat tonight. We got Sunzilla 2008. All hail Godzilla versus Megalon. Amen. All right. We got Kasaibo F29. Hello, hello. And we got Dr. Ghost Clocker. Sorry if I said that wrong. Hello. And Doomzilla. What's going on? Thank you for stopping by.
Awesome.
All righty. All right.
And I also say Godzilla versus Megalon, love it. One of my other, I mean, it's definitely a top tier for me. I love 70s Godzilla. I love it. I love Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yes, it was the peak of Godzilla's derpy phase, as I like to call it, and I absolutely love it.
Amazing.
All righty. So, before we get rolling, I asked a question on Twitter that relates to our main topic tonight, and the question was, what do you like to collect? Toys, figures, Blu-rays, books, or all of the above? And let's see what people had to say about that. We got an answer from Pansy Raptor. He says, all of the above, though with rising costs of everything, I slowed down a lot. Same here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Why does everything have to cost money? I don't understand it.
Yeah. My buddy, who's a co-host with me on YHS on Monster Island, he uses the term "money is not real," but I'm like, you know what? It actually is. That's the scary
thing. Yeah, it's real, but we don't have any of it, so
exactly.
It's debatable. Omniviewer says he collects practically everything. And our friends at Kaiju Ramen Media say literally all of it.
I know that's true. I do know that's true for those two cats.
Yes, especially Michael.
Yes.
And our friend Brian said pre-kids, it was toys and figures. Post-kids, it's now Blu-rays and books and magazines.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, figures are, not cheap most of the time. So we've got kids messing with them. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
Sometimes my niece and nephew come over and they want to play monsters.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just like, oh, but I put them there for display purposes. But okay, you're cute, so I'll allow it.
No, I have two kids and they are in the prime destruction phase. One is about to be 4 and one is 18 months. And the oldest one, she loves Godzilla. She loves coming in the monster room. And it's funny, like I'll let her play with some of my Sofubi items just because, it's a little bit harder to break those soft vinyl, but I make sure like the X pluses and everything like that, they're going to be way up here and they're the no touch zone. So it is a tricky thing to navigate.
Yeah, it is. All right. And our last answer we got from Henshin John. I mostly collect Blu-rays and DVDs and the occasional book. I used to collect figures, but currently don't have either the space or the funds to do so, except for the once in a while occasion. Again, same here.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I think even before money and the cost is like space danger is real. Like a lot of us, like, unless you are lucky enough to have multiple rooms that can hold multiple hundreds of kaiju toys and posters and prints and everything that's out there. I mean, you sometimes run out of room well before you run out of money. And it's very, very hard. It's like a lot of people adopt the one in, one out rule. And there's just a lot of, like I said, space danger is real, and real estate on shelves is probably a harder currency to figure out than even actual currency.
Yeah, I would agree. So when I moved into this apartment last year, I bought these 4 shelves, and it's still not enough for all of my stuff.
Yeah, it never is. It never is.
It'll never end. So what do you like to collect, Jay?
A little bit of everything. I would say of kind of the categories that you threw out there, I don't really collect a ton of physical media anymore. I do have some VHSs, like all the Godzilla films on VHS, at least like up until probably through the Heisei era. And so I have that, but I don't actively collect those. Those are just things I kind of had, right? But I'm really, really big into Sofubi, and that's kind of where I focus myself. I still do the occasional X Plus and some of the more statuesque, realistic looking ones. But I love me some art toys, some designer toys, some, throw some glitter and some glow in the dark and translucent vinyl, and I'm buying it. So that's really kind of where a lot of my focus is. And I also love to collect kind of wackier merch and weird stuff that kind of comes out that like Godzilla Charmy Waters or Godzilla, squeaky plush hammers, like weird stuff like that. I just think it's so fascinating because we don't get a lot of it over here in the States, but in Japan, a ton of that stuff, a lot of it coming from, the arcade machines, the amusement game machines, the cranes and everything. And so it's really cool to collect that. But I would say number one is probably 70% of my collection is really focused on Sofubi, from vintage, like 1966 Marasan, all the way to the latest releases that we're getting today from everybody. So that's probably number one right now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And I just collect, whatever my husband buys me, basically.
It's a great thing. No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. So, Toku Toy Town, how did that get started?
I wish, like my own origin story, I wish there was a better one, but it really started. I had no intention of buying and selling, Sofubi items and Godzilla merchandise to the masses here. But when I would say about 2 years ago, I was lucky enough to have some business dealings when I used to be in marketing for the Dr. Pepper brand, and so I did some work with an influencer group called Yes Have Some, the YHS network. These guys were really big in like the Ghostbuster community, Marvel, Star Wars, things like that. And on the marketing team, I tapped into them to talk about our when we were doing the release, the Spider-Man collectors cans and stuff for Dr. Pepper. And I became good friends with them. And it happens that one of them is a huge kaiju fan, and he wanted to create kind of an offshoot from their network that was focused on kaiju. And so I was lucky enough to get to work with Jacob Walsh, or I call him the tattooed titan of tokusatsu. And we do a ton, like I said, just bonded really quickly. And we've been doing the podcast now for a little over a year, and it's been great. YHS on Monster Island. And those guys are awesome. Like three better folks that started it, you won't find anywhere. Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh. And I always joke that, I don't know many people that literally on their speed dial, they have Jason Reitman and they have the president of NECA. I mean, it's like they're just into those communities, the toy collecting community and kind of the general pop culture community, the great people. So as we were doing the show, as part of it, we do like a weekly pickups or a bi-weekly pickups thing. And it just kind of took a life of its own. And I just started buying more and more and more. And I was like, you know what? Like, there's great kaiju collectible shops out there. I mean, what the Russos do with Kaiju Live, those guys, Get Well Frank, those guys are awesome. If I'm buying an X Plus or a Spiral Studio, something that's a game-changing piece, I'm going to those guys. That was great. Awesome collector. They're great for your X Plus pre-orders and all that type of stuff. They're wonderful. But what I didn't, and then I can't forget the legend himself, Sean, over at Showcase Daikaiju. I mean, if you're getting Bandai vinyls, like the latest releases, like bam, I'm going there. But what there wasn't, at least what I felt was an opportunity, was really in the Sofubi community and finding some of the older pieces, and not necessarily vintage, but some of the more obscure pieces, and then even going down into like the Bandai vinyl realm. And so I started buying. It started with buying junk lots, and then it got up to bigger. And I was kind of hand picking it. I almost view it as like an art collector, right? Like an art dealer, I should say. Like you find that one piece that there might only be a couple of them made, and you hope that you can resell it for a profit. And so that's what I did. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And with, word of mouth and like great ambassadors for what we're trying to do at Toku Toy Town, whether it's Collect All Monsters, whether it's Kaiju Ramen, all these guys have been so supportive, and it just kind of took off. And we now just eclipsed the 1 year kind of selling stuff online. And we do toy shows. We do live streams on Pop Shop Live, which is a really cool app. We're actually doing one on Tuesday where showcase inventory before it goes to the site. And Pop Shop Live is wonderful. It's free, and it's really great for the buyers because they get really reduced shipping. And it's just kind of, like I said, it's kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's been really, really fun. And just the people that I've got to meet through starting Toku Toy Town has been just worth it. I mean, I could lose money on this thing, which I won't, but if I did, it would still be worth it because all the cool people and all the cool pieces of Sofubi and Kaiju collectibles and tokusatsu toys that have kind of come through, and I've been like, this is amazing, and it's been great. And I've made, like I said, made a lot of cool contacts, and have my people in Japan that help me up with some of the more harder to get things over there, and it's just been wonderful.
That does sound wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. So do you have like a warehouse or something full of toys or like just like a separate area in your house? Or do you
Yeah,
like
I have 3 inventory closets in the house right now. I've been trying to do my first, so I'm based in Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas, and I've done a lot of toy shows here. I'm actually trying to get into, I'm waitlisted right now to Dragon Con in Atlanta, which, one of the biggest shows out there, and they don't have a lot of kaiju stuff. So I'm trying to get in there. So I'm building up a little bit more I'm carrying more inventory than I normally do. But I'm up to now 3 full closets of it, and that's I mean, you know the size of like a lot of the Bandai vinyl stuff. That's a lot of inventory. I think I have like 300 or 400 items here on site for me right now, and so that's where I keep it right now. And then in Japan, I work with a handful of folks over there, some proxy buyers and things, and so I do like warehouse it over there for a fee to build it up to save on shipping, because that's the only way you can do it right now, especially with shipping costs right now. And so yeah, so that's kind of what I have, a proxy warehouse over there, and then I have my closets over here. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, because I was gonna say like if you kept it all in your house, I'm like, how do you have room to do other things?
No, it's true, and it's right now. Like when I gear up for like I said, I'm doing the Pop Shop Live on Tuesday, and I have all the inventory I'm going to show off there. So I can't put that in inventory closets because I'm going to lose it. I'm going to have to dig around for it. So it's all here. So I'm sitting at these 25 pieces that I really want to keep, but I can't. And so it's the space, but it's also that temptation. Like if I get something that I really like, I'm like, put it in the closet, hide it, because I don't want to buy it and keep it, because that's the hardest thing about this. And it's like I should sell something I don't like because it'd be a lot easier. But I have all of this stuff right here, and it's like it's taking up half of my monster room here, as my daughter calls it, and it's just like it's so good. I want this. I want this bubblegum colored, Bio Goji from Mars, and I want to put it up on there. So yeah.
Yeah, that could be very challenging. I remember when you donated a few toys for my charity stream. Thank you, by the way.
Oh no.
And you sent some stuff my way that I really, really wanted to keep. I was like, no, but it's for the children. I must. I must part with it.
And I think Doomzilla won that package, so I think he was in the chat today. So hopefully,
yes,
hopefully you didn't flip it and you still have it, Doomzilla. But if you flipped it, that's cool. It's yours. But we won't tell the kids or anything. But no, it is hard because, like I said, there's that temptation element. But also in some ways, like when I get something that I really like and it does, let's say it sells really quickly and it goes to somebody, a lot of times people I know, the Michael Hamiltons of the world or the Danny DeMannas of the world, who also like me loves wacky, weird Godzilla merchandise. It is cool because then you see how happy they are. And at the end of the day, and I said this when I was interviewed on Collect All Monsters, I was like, my goal is that I want people to appreciate Sofubi and some of these weird things that I like as much as I do. Because if you look at it, there's so many people that love kaiju, but only a small percentage are collectors. And even a smaller percentage of that are diehard collectors. And even a smaller percentage of that care about like Sofubi and designer toys and like, think that Godzilla covered in glitter is awesome, not weird, right? So my goal is like, I just want to make this as accessible to folks to, to be the first Sofubi item that they bought or their favorite one. And then eventually I just assume it'll, like me, it will blossom and they'll be the next Toku Toy Town or whatever. And all it does is equals for us as collectors, more people that have great stuff, because there's so much Godzilla stuff out there. It is impossible to have it all. And so like, unlike, Star Wars and some of the other things, like we could truly have unlimited awesome kaiju vendors and collectibles dealers, and we would still have room for more. And it's just, that's what's so cool about it. So like, I hope that when people get their cool stuff from me, that a year down the line, they're starting their own toy stores and finding the great items to make sure that it goes to great people that love it. And if that happens, we're going to be in the best shape and of a collecting community of any fandom out there. And I think we can do it. And there's, like you said, I think the number of kaiju collectible vendors now compared to even 3 or 4 years ago, I think it's in a much better place, and it's only going to continue to get better.
I agree. So I guess it's safe to say like you feel a sense of like pride or like joy when, someone makes a purchase on Toku Toy Town, like you made someone's day better.
100%. I mean, I think, and also like, especially, we do get a lot of items that are a little bit more on the rarer side, which, we have stuff that's easy to get, and it's a pricing game at that point. And I get that. That's fine. But then we also get stuff where it's like, you might see it here and you might not see it for a couple more years, even if you look for it, because there's only 30 of them made, right? Like it's not I'm better than you, I'm worse, or than this vendor, I'm not. It's like we just stumbled upon it at the right time. And when one of those pieces, which normally they're not very cheap, they go to somebody, it's like that could complete a collection. That could be something they were looking for a long time. And I know how I felt or I feel when I get those pieces. And if it's just half as good as that, then I feel like, yeah, this is awesome. And so we try to do that in the best way we can, in the most affordable way we can. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And it's just, the nature of it. But like, that's what drives it. The moment like I feel like I'm just giving a commodity out to somebody, there's no point of doing it, right? It's that individual one-on-one thing where like I love it when I'm tagged in an Instagram post or they send me an email and they say like, look at this is awesome. I've never seen this before. This is cool. I'm going to start collecting this type of stuff. That is like the greatest stuff ever. So yeah, it is. It is what fuels me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as much joy as it brings you, I'm sure there's some challenges that come with running an online toy store. So what are some of those challenges?
Well, there right now, I mean, we can't go and we should. Obviously, people are struggling to buy gas now. Then, like, unfortunately, high-end kaiju collectibles probably aren't number one on their necessity list, right? And
I would hope not.
I know, and it should be that way. So I think that's always going to be a challenge with anybody. That's not unique to us. But aside from that, and kind of the macro level stuff that affects all of us, I would say like it's a little bit of knowing what people want, because like an art dealer, like if you can spend a lot of money on something and you could think it's wonderful, but you might be the only one out there that does. And so like I have pieces that I thought this would sell in 10 seconds. And this thing it's still sitting in my closet, right? And I have some stuff that I'm like, oh, I got a good deal. They threw it in as a free because I bought all this other stuff, and it'll go like that. So I think it's constantly understanding what people want. And the good news is, as my community grows of people that do go to Toku Toy Town, then there's less of a worry there because there's always somebody that wants something, right? But that's been the biggest like scary thing is like, this is a really rare piece. It's awesome. It costs a lot of money. Am I going to put up the investment for that or these pieces? I don't know. And so I try to win more than I lose on that. It's been good so far, but it's a risk. I mean, that's anybody that's buying things in bulk, things from a different country, things that are expensive. Like it's hard. And so I think that's the scariest thing and the riskiest thing. But we've navigated that pretty well. And then shipping delays, once again, affects everybody. But I think in things like toys and collectibles, it's harder because when you buy it and you spend $100 on it, you want it. You want it right now, especially when it's not a pre-order. And so, yeah. So I just feel that that's been a challenge because I don't want them to feel like it's anybody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast right now. But my name's attached to it, right? So it's like, ugh. So that's been hard to navigate. But the cool thing is, and what I've seen is this community, but maybe the nature of always getting stuff from Japan, they're used to a little bit of delays. And so they're usually very warm and welcoming about it, and they understand it. But it's hard because when they buy it, I want that product to be in their hands in 2 business days, but it sometimes doesn't work out that way.
Yeah. What can you do? That happens. Things like that happen, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of sitting on more toys than you
there he
can
is.
know what to do with, Michael. There you are. I was waiting for you to show up.
Yeah. So Michael. So it's funny. So when Michael and I probably started talking a year ago, and he was buying all this Sofubi and all this stuff from all these great vendors out there, and he's bought a few pieces from me, which I appreciate it, Michael. He kept on, we referred to him as the Sofubi newbie. But now, like, I'm going to officially, on Kaiju Kim show today, you've graduated way past that, my friend. You're in the elite level of Sofubi collector, because I know some of your collection. Some of your collection has passed through this, this monster room here. It's impressive, and it is awesome and diverse and cool. And Michael has really, really good taste when it comes to toys. So you're no longer the Sofubi newbie. We got to put that title on somebody else.
Yes. Congratulations, Michael, on no longer being a Sifubi newbie, but you are still canceled for
Yes, yes, you're still
reasons.
canceled. Yes.
Just because. Oy vey. All right. So there's a lot of people out there with sticks up their butt who say things like, "Why are you, as an adult, still collecting toys?" And, those things off with children. And it's annoying. But what's your response to that?
I usually just walk away. No, I'm joking. It is, you know, my wife is not a collector. Nobody in my family really is a collector of anything that would be at least somewhat related to toys and collectibles and kaiju. So I have gotten that question a lot, and I just think of it this way: like everybody in some way loves something. They love whether it's a media property, whether it's sports, whether it's whatever. And somebody that has a lot of football jerseys, or that collects a lot of bobbleheads in baseball, or collects a lot of this, that, or the other. It's all the same, and it's just we want to my knowledge, we only get one chance at this thing, and so let's surround it with what we like, and so I just usually say that I'm just like, hey, I like to be around what makes me happy, and outside of friends and family and kind of the cliche answers, like I love it. It makes me happy to be surrounded by things that I like that represent movies and shows and books and whatever that is important and has made me like who I am. And that's not to be too cheesy, because like if you think about it, we spend so much time with our media properties and our fandoms that we like. And not even counting like the time we spend with people that we've met through there, but just the actual movies and films and books and stuff and TV shows. Why wouldn't you want to represent it in some sort of form around you? It makes you so happy. I mean, it's like surrounding yourself with pictures of your family. I mean, maybe not to that level, but like it's a representation of them when they're not around you, and it makes you happy. It jogs a memory, and whether it's nostalgia or whether whatever, or brings you back to a time when maybe you weren't having the best day or the best week or the best month or best year, but you know what? You watched a lot of Ultraman to get you through it, or you watched a lot of this, that, or the other, and they're just physical representations. They're windows through time. They're portals back to those places, and they make you happy. And so I just I don't understand when people don't collect something or surround themselves with something. It's more of a I try to turn it back on them. It's like I have something I love enough to spend a lot of my hard-earned money to surround myself with it. Why don't you like anything that much, right? That's your problem. So yeah, I don't get it, and I love it, and I know I would not be as happy of a person if I didn't have it around me. I would survive. I'd be okay, but it would be a lot less fun, and I would have a lot less moments of joy in that unexpected moment. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people have this problem where they don't let people enjoy things,
yeah,
and it's just like shut up. Okay, we're not hurting anybody by collecting
no,
toys. Like,
no.
people just find any opportunity to put people down or make themselves seem superior in some way. It's sad, but misery loves company, I guess.
100%. And I mean, I do feel like the good thing is right where we live right now compared to, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, I do think there's a little bit of a normalization of, and I hate using these terms, but just, to represent like the nerd culture, geek culture, media properties and stuff. And like I said, I don't agree with that term, but like, it's for whatever reason, it's a little bit more accepted and normal and whatever. And I just feel that like, if you don't embrace something, what is the point, right? Like we as humans, we're trying to evolve and just be better people. I mean, ultimately, like if on my deathbed, if I said, hey, I was a pretty good person, I enjoyed life, home run, right? That's a win. That's all you can do, right? And if that is something that makes me happy, and to your point, doesn't offend or hurt or put down or do anything else to anybody, like I would be a moron not to pursue it, And so I don't know. There is always going to be that set of people that push against it, that resist it. And maybe to your point, it's because they don't have anything that they can embrace like that. So I hope they find it. I really do, because I've had so much fun collecting Godzilla stuff and other passions that I have, from the people that I've met, from the journeys that it's taken me on, from the online stores that I've created because of it, to the podcasts I've got to be on and do. Like all of that is because I enjoy a fandom and I want to collect aspects of it And if I didn't, then a huge part of my life outside of family would be gone. And so I feel for them. I feel for those people.
Yeah, we must take pity on those people.
Yes.
Sticks up their butts.
Oh, Godzilla Train's here. Hey, Godzilla Train. How's it going, man?
Oh, hey, Godzilla Train, what's going on? Yay! All right, so our friend Michael says to steal wow, I can't read. To steal a phrase from our mutual friend Danny, those who collect are nesting in our bliss. Nostalgia plays a huge part in that, but it's also a physical reminder of a good moment in a time for us.
Perfect. I agree. Danny's a wise man, much wiser than Michael. Very much.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Everyone's wiser than Michael. Yeah. Love you, Michael.
Yeah. I know that's great. That's a great. I'm glad Michael actually did say something, because I know everybody that listens to your show knows this, but if I didn't say this, I would feel like I am doing this community a disservice. In case there's a new listener, go out and buy every back issue and every current of Kaiju Ramen magazine. What Michael and Travis do, seriously, like all jokes aside, is so great. I always describe Kaiju Ramen as, it really is kind of like the connective tissue between a lot of other like little micro fandoms and micro communities within the kaiju landscape, because you get the folks that might only know about kaiju YouTubers like you, Kaiju Kim, or they might know, collect all monsters because they're big collectors, or they might know this, that, or the other. And I feel like Kaiju Ramen brings everybody together, and I love it. And it's a beautifully designed book, great content, great articles. Everybody does such a wonderful job. So if you are one of the few that don't know about Kaiju Ramen, you guys got to go out there, check it out. Michael and Travis, they do the deity's work on that one, because it is really great stuff.
Yes, I second that. Yeah. I very much enjoy Kaiju Ramen, and I'm looking forward to Kaiju Ramen Volume 1. Should be in the mail soon.
You should put a date on there to make Michael really nervous and sweat. You should be like, it should be in the mail next week.
It should be on the mail tomorrow. It should be in my hands on Wednesday.
I joke, Michael. We all know Travis is the brains.
Yeah, we jest. We'll see. There's why we pay you, Jay, for the plugs. There you go.
No, Michael's great. Michael's actually been on our podcast a few times. When they were talking about the Kickstarter for Kaiju Ramen Volume 1, and those guys are great. They really are. And I really want to have him and Travis on when we dive a little bit deeper into tokusatsu. And you too, Kim, because I know you're really big. Like, that's probably a little bit more of a blind spot, like more modern tokusatsu for us on YHS. We're definitely stay a little bit older when it comes to that like original Ultraman and Showa era stuff. But I know you guys all have great opinions and know your stuff when it comes to that, and that's really cool.
Really. Speaking of your podcast, I want you to talk a little bit about that, how that gets started. Tell us a little bit about what goes down there.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, myself and Jacob Walsh from YHS, like we started it as an offshoot of the Yes Have Some network, which they do their big shows. The Yes Have Some podcast has been going on for 6 years now. Like I said, they are big time. Like, we're not there yet, but they're big time. They're credentialed at Comic-Con and all that good stuff. And then their second show that they launched, which has been a massive hit, is Toy Anxiety. So actually, to plug, if you guys love toy collecting just in general, not just Godzilla stuff, but like Star Wars or the latest from Hasbro and NECA and Mattel and Super 7, those guys do a weekly show every Tuesday night on YouTube, and it's called Toy Anxiety. And it's the three main hosts, and then Ryan Dole, who is actually an Academy Award-winning animator from Sony, but one of the smartest dudes when it comes to toy collecting I've ever met. Those four, they have a lot of like rotating guests a lot, and their show is hilarious. It's like think like a Pixel Dan or Toy Galaxy, but actually funny. It's one of those type things. It's a great show. But anyway, so the third offshoot was YHS on Monster Island, and we record bi-weekly, and it's a little bit of everything. Like, it's a little news, it's a little collecting and toy collecting, it's a little bit movie reviews, or also just kind of discussion points. Like, we're not going to review a film every time and break it down. There's so many podcasts out there that do that better than we could. I mean, your Kaiju Weeklies, those guys, not to give Michael and Travis more compliments, but those guys are awesome. Your Gargantua Cast, your Monsters vs. Men, there's so many out there, and I'm forgetting a few, I know, but they're really good. So we're just a little bit, I would say, a little bit of everything, a little bit more of a smorgasbord, and we do it. Hopefully people find it in a very casual, unfiltered. So I will put that disclaimer on there, unfiltered way. And it's just like we tried to say, like it's two friends talking kaiju like they would, over the phone, at their house, at a bar, at a convention, wherever, and you're kind of the third person in the conversation. That's really how we set it up. And like I said, some are more toy focused, some are more movie focused, some are like truly hypotheticals, like where should Godzilla go now, or who would win in these monster fights between X kaiju and Y kaiju and Y, and things like that. So it's super fun, but it definitely fits within the realm of YHS and Yes Have Some, which is a little off the wall and zany and a little not always PG rated, but we try to keep it at least PG 13ish, maybe somewhere around. Yeah, right. Depends who's talking more. If Jake is, no. If I am, I'm usually PG 13. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that I guess not all podcasts and live streams can be chill with Kaiju Kim, where we try to keep things family friendly. But sometimes the guests kind of like let something slip, but that's okay.
Well, also, why would we try to do that? You have that market cornered. Like, why would we try to be? Then we're just diet Kaiju Kim. Like, we don't need another Kaiju Kim. We have one. We have the original, right? So no, we try to do something different. And like I said, there's ever since I think like the Kaiju cast stopped doing, because obviously Kyle and his team back there, like they were one of the first. I know not the first, but they had a huge following. And kind of once they stopped doing that and migrated over to Collectible Monsters, I think there's been a lot of really great podcasts out there filling that void. And there's not necessarily one that's better than the others to most people. Like, it's all great stuff, and it's hard to kind of find your niche, and we just try to be a little bit different, and hopefully offer something that's fun and entertaining to the folks. And it's not a competition, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're listening to one kaiju podcast, most likely you're probably at least sampling another, right? Like you're not going to be only I'm one and done. So we hope that when they listen to us, after they're done, they're putting on Michael and Travis on Kaiju Weekly, or they're putting on Alex and Eric over at Monster vs. Man or whatever. And it's that's how communities are built, and that's how you get really good quality too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got your podcast, you got Toku Toy Town, and not to mention your personal life and your work life and all that fun stuff. I imagine balancing that can be quite challenging. How do you manage?
You don't. There's always one show idea that you don't get done. There's always one lot in Japan that I can't wake up in time to buy because or I'm changing diapers or whatever, right? Like that's and not my own, my kids. But it's hard, and I do like my real job. I'm still in the marketing side over it. I'm at Susan G. Komen, the breast cancer chair nonprofit, and so that's not a easy job, right? It's not one that I only do a couple hours a day. It's a full job, so it's really just maximizing your time and prioritizing. And this isn't necessarily just advice for me. It's anybody that's involved in multiple endeavors. And it's, at the end of the day, like if I have 1 hour and I need to get something out for the real job or Toku Toy Town, the real job is going to win, right? The good news is, like, between late nights and weekends, and luckily I don't require a ton of sleep, I'm able to get most of it done. But I don't think I'll be, adding any extra podcasts or anything like that to the plate anytime soon. But it's hard. But it's always family first, and like and like wedding planning and things like that. Like it can take up a lot, and you never can plan that because you don't know when you're going to have a sick kid. You don't know when yourself you're going to be sick. You don't know when you have a life event that you weren't planning for pop up, and so it's just, as long as you feel comfortable in your priorities and stable in that, it all works out. Because at the end of the day, if I don't get an extra, Marasan Biolante out to somebody, the world's going to be fine. My personal world's going to be fine, and their personal world is still going to be fine. But, if I miss a kid's, school play or something like that, that's bad, right? So I just try to prioritize and stick to that as much as possible. But I'll tell you, there's sometimes when you have screaming kids and work is beating you down, that all I want to do is go and put up new toys on my site and be like, this is awesome. I want to research this one to make sure whoever's buying it knows its backstory, right? And it's hard sometimes to be like, I can't do that. So yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't have kids, so I can imagine just being like, "Ah, no, like, no, 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 I don't know
Well,
if I want
I
that."
I think it'll help when they can when the oldest one, she's about to be 4, she can almost help me pack things. So, if you have anything that's packed weird from Toku Toy Town, it probably was from my daughter. So you can blame her, not me. She's almost at the point where she can help, but
Oh, so
we get used
you
to
just admitted live on my stream that you participate in child labor.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. That's us. That is our motto. It's we try to bring you the best in rare sofubi, tokusatsu toys, and kaiju collectibles, and we support child labor if it's our own kids. Yeah, I'm gonna be canceled like Michael.
Yeah, there you go. See, you're canceled now. Do you at least pay her in food and snacks?
She gets them, anytime I buy like a big junk lot, and let's say I get 80 items, and there's always 2 or 3 because it's like almost sight unseen sometimes. And there'll be one with like a crack, and I'll be like, "Oh, here you go, honey. Here's your Bandai Pigmon," and that makes up for it, so she's happy then.
All right. Well, at least everyone's happy.
You paid in soft vinyl. That's
Like, yeah, your stuff gets shipped out and packed, and she gets, food and stuff. That's fine. Everyone's happy.
oh
That's why my last Bio Goji came and broke.
not even funny to joke about, man.
Oh man. Oh no.
So I have a question for you, Kaiju Kim. What do you collect? I mean, I've seen stuff in the back, and I see some really cool stuff, but I didn't know, like, do you like, in a perfect world, is it media? Is it prints? Is it books? Is it toys? Like, what is like your hierarchy of collectibles?
Ooh. Well, I do like toys, as you can see.
Yes, that was my guess. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I also like to collect movies that, are hard to get.
Yeah,
So I have a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays over yonder, and
nice.
I'm still need to I have a long list of things that I need to watch/collect.
Yes,
As
we
far as
all do. We
yeah.
all do. And like I said, if you don't have that list, then are you even a collector?
Yeah, you're not a true collector if you don't have a list of things that you need to collect.
100%, 100%. So when you like, you like the harder to get, kind of harder to find movies. It's funny. I was just talking about with somebody about this, like the work that like SRS Cinema has done, bringing us all those indie films, and like the big news they had last week, bringing over a Space Monster Wong Magui from Korea that lost film. Like, there's so much cool stuff out there. Like, it's like even us that are, everybody on this live stream, everybody in the chat, like we know our kaiju well enough to, not get laughed out of a room. And there's still so much stuff that I have no idea that existed or I would have the ability to consume. And that's what's so cool about I think our fandom as well, is like, there's so much other stuff. There's always something that we haven't seen, good, bad, or indifferent. That's a different story of the quality, but there's always something out there to look.
Yes, indeed. Warrior King forever. Hello, hello, good sir. I like collecting flicks and figures too.
That's a great, like, that would be a wonderful podcast name, Flicks and Figures. That's amazing. You should trademark that. Heck yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. Flicks and Figures. That is what I like to collect. Maybe I'm gonna steal that. No,
I know, right? It'll be your after hours show. It'll be good.
My husband and I have been thinking about starting a podcast together, and we were trying to come up with a cool name, and maybe that should be it.
I love it. Yeah, Warrior King forever. You might have to charge something for that. You better go get that URL.
I'll pay.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. I always, husbands and wives or partners and partners that do podcasts together. Like, I would not want to pursue that. That is a lot, because it is my wife and I have not, like, by design, like, we don't have a lot of like similar interests when it comes to, like, she loves like thrillers and you're kind of more, I don't want to say mainstream films, but whatever, like, does not care for kaiju at all. And we do cross over a little bit on some like Marvel and things like that. But I was just thinking, like, we would just get in so many arguments over stuff because our what we like is so different. It would be hilarious, and it would not be good listening. We talk over each other. It'd be great.
Yeah, my husband's more into Star Wars than he is Godzilla, but we're still nerds.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. No, Star Wars is there's there are good talking points in Star Wars. There's a lot of arguing to be said on that one.
Oh boy, I don't want to get a divorce already. We've only been married for 3 weeks.
Yeah, filling out the reason for the irreconcilable differences. Why, like, she just liked the sequel trilogy too much, you know.
Listen, I'm a sucker for a good female protagonist.
Oh, Ray should have been could have been so much better. She was, I love Ray, but like, I just wish she was in a different trilogy because there was so much just messed up with that the sequel trilogy. But Ray is still one of the best characters in all of Star Wars. I'll give you that.
Yes, I agree. Does your husband love or hate Kenobi? So far, he seems to be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with him. I've been enjoying it. It's been solid. I think it's been solid. It's not like a life changer. It's not changing my perception of the Star Wars universe, but I dig it. It's fun.
Yeah. And our friend Adrian says, "Do it, Kim. And the name is perfect. If you don't, I will." All right, I better get on it then.
Or just invite Adrian. He can be kind of a special guest every so often. He can be like the correspondent that comes in, and it's like he can have a little segment on your show. It'd be great. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, the Godzilla train station segment on Kaiju Kim's Flicks and Figures. I love it.
I love it. I love that. I love that idea. Let's make it happen. All right, I think we can start wrapping up our discussion. But before we do that, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you and your stuff?
Thank you, Kim. So from a toy standpoint, tokutoytown.com, we get new inventory every few weeks or so. It's kind of hit or miss. It just kind of depending on when things actually make it to me. But it's anything from rare Sofubi tokusatsu toys to Bandai vinyls and a little bit of everything in between. I mean, if it's Godzilla, but if you're a Kamen Rider fan, if you're Ultraman, Super Sentai, we have a little bit of everything. And also, the one thing I really, really, really want to make sure everybody knows is if there's something that you want and you can't find it, at least let me know. I will try to find and help out people as much as I can. I'm not saying that I can find it. I'm just saying I will try, because when I'm looking for all this stuff and working with my friends and the network that I've built in different parts of the world, I could easily just add something else to that list. So please, like I said, and like I said, especially in the Sofubi world, because I'm personally always looking for that. And then YHS on Monster Island, we on every major podcast service, just like everybody else out there, we do have a video feed as well on the Yes Have Some channel on YouTube. It's all their stuff. So check out that. Check out what we do on Monster Island. And then for those that want to check me out on Pop Shop Live, I actually have a show on this Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, and I will be debuting a lot of new inventory, like 24, 25 new pieces that will hit Pop Shop Live before it goes on Toku Toy Town, including, and this is the one that I've been super excited about. I'm going to do a little tease here because I think this might be Sofubi of the Year this year, from Marasan, from the May 21st, the Kaiju pop-up salon shop at the Asakusa Smile Bar in Asakusa, Japan. It is the blue glitter, Marasan Ingidara. Look at this guy. Look at that glitter. He's amazing. This guy will be going live on Pop Shop Live on that broadcast. But it's not all. I have, like I said, 20 or so items, including, and those that know me, I collect Marasan Bio Gojis from the Marasan 350 line. But I always buy an extra couple for the rest of us out there. So this is one of their newest releases from that same pop-up. This is a glow-in-the-dark red marble Bio Goji. This is my favorite sculpt in all of Sofubi from a Godzilla standpoint. I love Godzilla 89. This one right here for me is number 31. So I have 31 of these. I know, right? I love it. So yeah, I know Michael has a ton too. But Pop Shop Live is great. It's an app, and popshop.live as well. And I believe a lot, first off, it's $5.99 shipping. You buy one thing, everything else is free shipping. And it's not just me. Linda Conrad from Chibi Goji Toys, for those that love collecting kaiju, she was one of the first that did it in a big way. One of the nicest human beings in the world. She's on there. Toy Tokyo in New York is on there. One Click Collectibles is on there. 3D Retro. If you love designer toys and you love kaiju toys, there's a lot of sellers, not just me, but there's a lot of sellers that will go on there. You watch, and it's a live stream. We talk about it. There could be auctions. It could just go into our catalog. Pop Shop Live, really cool. Go check that out on Tuesday at 9 p.m. And that's it. And of course, always shoot me a note on my on Instagram at Toku Toy Town. I'm usually pretty responsive, and I love hearing from people. I love it. And I'll be at G-Fest, so come by. And I won't have any toys there. I'm not selling anything there. I'm just going to be a fan and meet all the wonderful people in the community that I haven't met. And that's a lot. So I'm super pumped.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you there as
Yeah.
well. I will be there. As if y'all haven't paid attention, if you missed the beginning and you haven't seen what's flowing down at the bottom there, I will be at G Fest. I will be on a panel, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
Yay!
It's gonna be awesome.
Excitement. I'm gonna be nervous. I'm probably gonna be like, my mouth is probably gonna get like super dry because my mouth gets super dry when I'm nervous, and I'm like, like it's gonna be weird because like I'm used to doing this show online where the only face I see is my guests, but then I'm gonna like, oh my god, I actually see like people. They're real.
You're gonna do great. I mean, just think about it. Like those people are there to see you. Like they know your credentials. Everybody knows Kaiju Kim. You've had everybody on. That's anybody, it seems like, in this world. I'm thrilled to be on here, and I love it. I'm episode number 42 for all you Hitchhikers fans. But anyway, I think that it's going to be amazing. You're going to kill it, and those other guys on the panel, as long as they don't bring you down, you're going to be good.
Yeah, I'm the only girl on the panel, so I'm gonna look fabulous and it'll be amazing.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Alrighty, that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for coming onto my show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Kaiju Kim. I appreciate it.
No problem. And to you watching at home, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and my fantastic guest. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, like this stream if you had a good time here tonight, and be sure to be back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.